Man, Mitch, the Sixers just keep beating the brakes off of these lowly teams. Beating the brakes off of them.
That's what they're supposed to do.
And they did.
Yeah, they did.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, right? Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on to get started. So what's up, Mitch? How you been, bro?
Man, I'm doing well, man. I'm doing better than those Detroit Pistons are. Ooh, that was kind of unsightly last night, man.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're a Sixers fan, it's exactly what you want to see. But
was that how West used to beat up on Overbrook back in the day? Or how Hampton used to beat Howard?
Oh no. Well, Hampton has been, especially in football, but it was we in the Celebration Bowl this year. Don't sleep.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. For y'all who don't know, John went to Howard and he went to Overbrook, the home of Wilt Chamberlain. Dang, dude, y'all had a lot of people in track and field too. Olympians. I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
Olympians, all that. Lewis Lloyd went there. A lot of people. Malik Rose. Shout out to Malik Rose. A lot of people. But they had Olympians too. But if y'all don't know, I'm Keith Pompey. This is my man, right-hand man, John Mitchell. We're the hosts of Locked On 76ers podcast. And we got a lot to talk about last night. It's weird. The one thing I will say, Mitch, is this is the way we expected the Sixers to play last week, right? Go out there and just destroy foes, like just take them out of their misery. And that's what they did last night. I mean, Joel Embiid had 30 points and 10 rebounds in the first half. He ended up with 41 points and 11 rebounds. He didn't play in the fourth quarter. But they just flat out destroyed the Detroit Pistons. And Mitch, I'm here to tell you. In my opinion, this Detroit Piston team is the worst team since I've seen since the process. And the difference is the process, they were trying to lose, right? Yeah. This team, they got nice young stars and this and that. Now they got some injuries, but I'm telling you, horrible. The Sixers beat them 121-111, and it was never close at all.
And that process year. In fact, that was your main voyage on the beat, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first year. yeah. I hated you the whole time.
I remember talking to you a lot, telling you, man, it's not always going to be like this, man. Because they were, but yeah, you make a good point, man. This is a team. With young players, I mean, when it's like, what do you say? Well, they were without Jalen Duren last night. I mean, okay, nice player who's going to have a decent career in the NBA, but that's not like a game changer. I know he's the homeboy. We want to give him some love. But yeah, it's just a bad bunch, man. When the Pistons are the equivalent of it's a glorified 7 o'clock, 7:30, depending what time zone you're in. It's a glorified practice right now, night practice with an audience for teams. The sad thing is if you're the home team, and those are some serious fans out there, man. They love their Pistons, but they 21 straight L's, man. And go ahead. Yeah.
The fun, I mean, you said 21 straight L's. I'm sorry. But the sad part about that is that ain't even the worst in NBA history. Like the Sixers and Cleveland Cavaliers are tied for the worst with 26. But something tells me is like they may be challenging, or they are challenging, but they may surpass it. I think they're going to surpass it.
Yeah, I don't know who's on this. I mean, I know it shouldn't end on Friday. Or is the game Friday?
Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah, it shouldn't end Friday night in Philly. That's for sure. But yeah, they're just bad, man. They and again, the Sixers did, as they have been doing lately with the bad teams. They pounced on Washington early, ran them out of the gym early. And quite honestly, I was asking myself, okay, Nick Nurse, you had 70 at halftime. People are playing well. I was like, I was tempted to say sit Joel for the second half unless you need him.
Yeah, I know but I think you could tell when Joel has that look where he knows he's going to sit and he wanted to do it. Yeah. But look, this is the crazy part. Like, let's go over this, right? So Embiid finished with 41 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists for his third game this season with at least 40 points and 10 rebounds, right? Mm-hmm. That matches Milwaukee Bucks forward Giannis Antetokounmpo for the most such games in the NBA, right? Mm-hmm. It also marked Embiid's 38th 40-10 game of his career, right? Wow. Extending the franchise record. Wilt Chamberlain is second with 31. So my man is like on top of Wilt right about now, right? But the 7'2", 280-pound center scored at least 30 points for the 9th consecutive game. So if you're the Pistons, you might feel like, okay, well,
that's what he does.
That's what he does.
He gives it to everybody.
I mean, so Embiid was just killing him, man. He was like, he got out there, he did what he had to do, he played well. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was just giving them the business, bro. Just giving them the business.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, man. I'm a big Joel critic because of the postseason. I know a lot of it has to do with his injuries.
True.
But he to me he looks even better in these last 3 years. He's really played an extraordinarily high level. And the thing is that he's added to his game now is he's passing the ball more. His assists are up. But what I do like is, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's leading the league in free throw attempts. And that's, I want that to stay that way. I want him to play at the rim, and like you get a Bobo team like that, that's where you go to the cup. They don't have anything to stop you there. And he's playing close. He's playing more aggressively at the rim this year, Keith. I think if there's one thing I've noticed this year, you see that. I mean, the fadeaway. How many guys his size can hit that fadeaway, or can stop and pop, from the free throw line extended like he does. And it's fun to watch what he's doing. But there's always a but whenever we talk about him. It's got to appear in the playoffs. We can't have it now with the 76ers and then not have it. You need to, the steps his game up in the postseason.
I agree. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I agree with you 100%. And can I add to this? Mm-hmm. See, the thing about when Joel Embiid does this against teams like this, it's kind of like you want to say. Now again, it's not a knock. I'm saying, but I'm saying what it is. It's kind of like we look at it and you say, of course he did that against the Detroit Pistons. Right. You don't have anybody there. But then at the same time, you only play against who they put in front of you, right? I mean, and unfortunately, this is the league nowadays. Like, like you can go into the NBA and there might be 5 to 6 teams where you say, okay, this is going to be a good one. But for the most part, like you got an idea who's going to win and who's going to dominate. It's just not that many teams out there. So you said, like, you were right. Like, he could have sat out the second half. He sat out the fourth quarter. He had 41. Joel Embiid could have scored 65 points against that team. But again, what we do is we like this. We say, well, I want to see what he does when they go to Denver. I want to see what he does when they do this. But again, the schedule is in front of him. He had 2 games against Washington. He played Atlanta. Now he played Detroit. Now he has to go against Detroit again. Then he goes to Charlotte, right? So, he'll get stiffer competition against you think against Chicago because of their centers, and then against Minnesota. But it is what it is, man. Like, unfortunately, there's just not a lot of talent in this league, at least on his level.
Yeah, and this is the best. This is the best in the world, And I mean, but they're just some really bad teams, and they're in the stretch. Okay, so this is 2. They had the Atlanta game, 2 games with Detroit, 2 games with Washington. You're talking about a 3-20 and a 2-22 team. And those 4 teams, they're like a combined 4. They're like 31 games below 500. I think they're 14-55. I don't know if my math is right. 24, 34, 44, 54. They're 41 games below 500. So it's
bad.
It's bad, But like you said, you play who's in front of you, and you stack these wins and you move on until you run into a Minnesota Timberwolves, and you hope and pray that Joel Embiid is healthy and available on that night.
Yeah. You're right. Now look, y'all, when I want to talk to you guys about FanDuel, but before I do that, I just want to mention that we're going to talk about Tobias Harris on the next segment. Tobias was aggressive. He was attacking. He was doing things, in my opinion, that he didn't do the other games, right, recently. So we will talk about his performance. But right now, I want to talk to y'all about FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers Stay Hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. So, Mitch, when we talk about Tobias, Tobias had 21 points yesterday. That was the first time that he had that in a while, right? He looked good. He was attacking like we talked about. He made 7 of 10 shots, 3 of 5 threes. He had 7 rebounds, 1 block. He did all this in 26 minutes, 12 seconds. To you, what really stood out to you, and do you believe that this is the way he needs to play?
Yeah, whenever he, again, we have to preface this by acknowledging who they were playing. This is
exactly.
This is a team where you're supposed to fix things. If you're either going to fix things or you're going to go through the motions, it's one or the other. And I was glad to see Tobias being more aggressive. I was glad to see his 3-point shot falling. And then I think it was 10 for 7. I think he was last night. He didn't need a whole lot of shots to 7 for 10, 3 for 5 from 3-point line, made all of his free throws, and he grabbed 7 rebounds. So he made the contribution. It looked more like the games he was playing earlier in the season. Because I remember that was he'd be prior to last night's 21-point game. He had gone 8 straight games without cracking 20. And, we kind of got spoiled with him doing it so regularly early on. So, that's what you want to see from Tobias, because they're going to need Tobias. So build your whatever it takes. Build your confidence against a bad team. If that's what it takes.
You just build your confidence against a bad team.
Yeah, and Friday's another opportunity. You once again, the people at Wells Fargo Center will be witnessing an evening practice for the 76ers. So you just go out there and beat Tobias, man. But Tobias, when the three is falling, he's a much better player. When the three is falling, and Tobias was attacking the basket a lot more early, and I think, we talked about on the other show, DeAnthony Melton's emergence has somewhat probably taken some of his shots away. I think it's fair to say that. What do you think? Yeah, I'm reading your face. I think you did.
Yeah, but I think Tobias has taken some of his shots away because, what he did yesterday, it was like, you're right, and it was like, yo, this is like a team that I'm gonna get mine. It's easy, but it's kind of like, and what I mean by that is when you look at Tobias' game, Tobias, I feel like at times he looks for his teammates to get him involved. He'll have a shot and he'll pass it up, and he expects the ball to come back to him or to get in position. He didn't do that yesterday. Yesterday, he got that ball. He just went hard, right? Trying to make stuff happen. And that's what he needs to do, because if we're saying, that's what DeAnthony Melton does, that's what Pat Bev and all of them are doing now. It's kind of like the coach said,
go for you.
We got a free-flowing offense.
Yeah.
We want dudes to get shots. So it's kind of like they're not running plays for people like that. Unless now if you Joel and Maxey,
right,
it's something different. But the rest of y'all got to get in where you fit in, and you got to take advantage of it. So, yes, the emergence of Melton, you can say, is taking away shots. But that's because Melton is taking those shots, and Tobias always isn't taking. It's not.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, as we've seen from Nick Nurse's offense, it is a free-flowing offense, and the opportunities are there. And Joel's going to get his. That's just a given. He's probably for what it's worth, because he's an MVP favorite at this moment, pre-Christmas. What does it mean to 76ers? I don't know, but Tobias. I think Joel likes to see, he wants to see. That's why he's giving the ball up a lot more now, and why he's passing the ball more. He wants his teammates involved. Because he knows, and everybody with the organization knows, that if you're getting something out of Tobias, if you're getting, you're not going to get the 65, 67% shooting you had through the first 10, 12 games from Tobias. That was just during that 8-game winning streak. But if he's creating opportunities for himself, and he's not worried about getting the ball back, just take it to the rack, shoot it to take that three. He got
to be aggressive. He has to be aggressive.
He has to be aggressive, and I think aggressive, as we've seen, aggressive works for him better in the current offense than standing back and stepping out to 3-point line and just watching, being a spectator and getting out of the way. So yeah, and again, they're 20 some odd games into the season. Just at the quarter mark, around the quarter mark. I think Tobias is going to be fine. I think he's going to find, but he's going to find comfort level. But he is a guy who doesn't step into that comfort zone as easily as some guys like Maxey does, and now, of course, now that James Harden is here. So we'll see. I think he'll come around. But again, they've got that traveling 10W40 coming to the Wells Fargo Center. So that's another day to get right, to get nice and slippery and to be ready.
All I know is I just hope for him, because the haters going to hate. If he goes there, he destroys this team again, and then he destroys Charlotte, and then have a pretty good game against Cleveland, and then Minnesota struggles. The haters going to hate. So I hope for him that he can just keep this up. And I hope they, continue to keep him and, involved, whatever. But at the same time, like I said, it's up to Tobias to get himself right. I honestly believe that because, you got it. And I'm going to say this right before we go into the next one. You got a lot of guys in the final year of their contracts. And the coach, a lot of them. Yeah. And the coach is saying, we want a free-flowing offense where guys get shots. Now, my thing is,
what that equates.
So this is a contract year for all but 4 dudes on the team. Seriously, it's a contract. They got 15 guys. They have 15 guys on their roster, and is on all but 4. This is a contract year, and one of them is still a contract, but I'm saying he's going to get paid, Maxey. So like I'm including him in that 4. So the rest of these dudes, some of them is like, am I going to be in the league next year?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So whatever. So it's like, coach gave me the green light.
60 games in the season, they're gonna start looking at them stats and be like, okay, I gotta get these numbers up.
I mean, it look like they're looking at them now.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you gotta understand that. The coach said free flowing, we want. The coach told Pat Bev we want him shooting the ball between 8 to 10 times a game. You understand what I'm saying?
You never see that from Pat Bev.
Nah. So when you get that ball, you gotta shoot. Yeah. You can't pass it to Pat Bev thinking he's gonna bring it back to you. Nah, he got the green light.
Mm-hmm.
He got the green light. So
as we celebrate 50 years of hip hop, when you get the ball, you gotta go for it all.
Exactly. But look, man, at one time or another, we all need a little financial help. That's why Dave is great. Dave can get you cash when you need a hand between paychecks and can help you build credit by settling easy extra cash advance on time. Dave is the banking app that's leveling the financial playing field. When you download Dave, you can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. I think I'm about to download it. No credit check, no late fees. It's part of Dave's extra cash account. Advance the money you need with no interest and then settle up later. So download Dave today at dave.com/lockedonnba. That's dave.com/lockedonnba. You can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit checks, no late fees. Download the app now and go to dave.com/lockedonnba for terms and conditions. You go to dave.com/legal. Eligibility criteria and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve, member of the FDIC. Telling y'all, better go do that if you want that quick money. Get that quick money. Now,
Christmas time is here, money.
Yeah, bro. Like, I keep looking. 11 days. 11 days out. 11 days. So, Christmas, man. All the Detroit Pistons want for Christmas is a win. I mean, you saw the frustration. You saw when what's the big man, Stewart, when he took and knocked Pat Bev to the floor. Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah,
Isaiah Stewart. But you know the one thing about Isaiah Stewart, remember that's the dude that went after LeBron.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You ain't see anybody go after him yesterday.
Right.
Nah. Like that's a business. Like, that dude, I like the young boy, but that's one of them young boys that I don't think nobody in the league messes with.
Yeah.
Nobody.
No, I agree.
But at the same time, you kind of knew the frustration because, like, I'm gonna be honest with you. The last time they went there, they were complaining about Joel Embiid getting to the foul line, saying he was getting all these calls and all this other stuff. And they were getting physical with the Sixers. And then when Jalen Duren went out, the Sixers kind of sort of, widened their lead, so to speak, put the game away. And I know they had to be frustrated looking at Joel Embiid get 30 and 10 on them in the first quarter, in the first half. He had 19 in the first quarter. it was like they couldn't stop them. They
Right.
couldn't stop anybody, basically. Like Tyrese Maxey shot 2 for 13, 0 for 6 on threes. But aside from that, everybody else got whatever they wanted against them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kelly Oubre Jr. was 7 for 9. So you look at this team, man, I'm telling you, Mitch, it's bad. It's bad, and the frustration is mounting.
Yeah.
You just look at it.
So does that mean that Tyrese gets 40 on Friday? Because he's looking, he's looking at that box score and saying, "Man, what was I doing against that Buster squad?"
It looked like he was more like they were all of them were, but the crazy part, like this is and yeah, we should. But the crazy part of the sign of a bad team playing a bad team is whenever they went to the bench, they were over there laughing and joking. Mm-hmm. Now I don't know if they was laughing and joking at the Pistons. I don't think they were, but they were just in a good mood.
Yeah,
like it wasn't like what I mean. It was kind of like, what it is, man. It was like you were in recess, and then all of a sudden the teacher calls you in and says, "Hey, you got to take this makeup test, right?" Yeah. And you say to your boys like, "All right, man, I'll be back." I'll be back. And then they played in the game, but it looked like the fun was on the bench. Like everybody laughing and joking.
It's so bad. It's like, usually the Detroit Lions are the laughing stock around this time of year, in Detroit. But for the past few years now, it's been those Pistons, It's Joe Dumars, and I know it's killing those guys, man. It's like look at the product we have out here on the court, day in and day out, night in and night out. Which we're a traveling practice team. We're a traveling night practice team, man. And eventually they'll bring that. They'll bring that losing streak to an end. But it's like, man, what a bad product that is right there.
And the thing is, they didn't see the Sixers when the Sixers tanked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when they struggled, they were tanking. Like, what I mean? It was the thing. They were tanking. This team thought they had a nice young team, young core. The coach gets fired. They give Monty Williams all that money. He's making $13 million a year. And they thought they had a pretty good team. And I mean, like Jalen Duren, young, good, promising center. Isaiah Stewart, a hard-nosed power forward. They got him playing center now. And then you look at the pick, like they picked up Jonathan Wiseman, James Wiseman, excuse me, like Marvin Bagley III. We're talking about dudes who were legitimate prospects in the NBA, top draft picks who, like, you're saying, okay, we're going to bring you guys in here to help, get
this
you
is right. Your chance.
We still believe in you. And then, I didn't even mention Cade Cunningham, one of the best young guards in the league, best young players in the league. And then all of a sudden, yes, I get it. They have injuries. But for the most part, the injuries that they have, they shouldn't be losing 22 games in a row.
Right?
Or 21 games in a row. They shouldn't, I don't know. But you look at some of the guys that they have starting, like we named some pretty good dudes.
Mm-hmm.
But some of their starters, you look at them like, this is the only team in the league they would start for. Like some of them, though, really. And I'm not trying to be critical, but it's just, it reminds me of the process Sixers. But the problem is the process Sixers, for the most part, they had some reaches that they reached for, but for the most part, they were fringe players who they were trying to try out to see if they could play.
Yeah.
But these guys are supposed to be lottery picks.
Right. Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. And it just goes to show you how often, these lottery picks just don't pan out. But you're right, though. I mean, I forget one year, maybe they had like 30 some odd different guys dressed up, suited up for the 76ers.
It was more than that, bro. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
But that was deliberate. You have, like you said, you have guys who were considered building blocks, and and a lottery picks on that squad. So I hope it turns around for them, because it's the city of Detroit, and they're used to a better product than that. But right now it's bad.
Yeah,
Well, veterans, they need an established veteran to go there. What established veteran is making me saying, "Hey, Detroit looks like a good fit for me."
That's the problem. Detroit just isn't a destination city, unfortunately for them. That's the problem. That's the problem. Right. You know, it's just not a destination, and with that, they're not going to be able to, get the players that they need. But look, y'all, we want to thank y'all for listening. We want y'all to know that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. We would like to thank y'all for listening today and joining us, and let you know that you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts at. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts at, and on our YouTube channel. Peace.
Peace, y'all.